how did the global financial crisis affect the banking sector in Poland?
It did affect, but of course it was different impact than, for example, in UK or United States for two reasons. First of all, Polish banks were not involved in subprime, let's say, business due to the fact that it's a small economy and usually this kind of business is being done by mother companies. In other words, Polish banks were not involved in this kind of high risk business, first of all. Secondly, Polish banking sector was not leveraged so much. Loans to deposits were 120. So in the effect, last year proved to be relatively good. It was 30% drop of the profits, but still banking sector made almost 3 billion euro profits last year, which is relatively good result if you take into account that it was a year of the crisis.
So BRE Bank, how did you respond?
We did manage. We survived the crisis. We made a profit, of course, smaller profit than in previous years. There were two ways how we managed the crisis. First of all, we were trying to reduce costs, and we had to do it relatively significantly. We reduced the staff by 10%, which is 400 people has to be laid off. But these were the people actually who were selling Swiss franc mortgages. And you can imagine during the crisis, when the currency depreciated, automatically nobody was interested to take loans in Swiss and foreign currency in general. That's why it was natural that you have to, limit the sales force for this kind of business. Secondly, we stopped lending as we were doing before, so we reduced our lending activity significantly and focused more on, let's say, profitable business rather than on volumes. Until the day we managed to make a profit last year, but this year will be the year really for expansion.
So even while you're focused on survival, you still have to think about growth. What's the strategy there?
Yeah, but it's important that competition is also thinking about growth. So in 2010, it's important to understand the Polish economy last year made 1.7% growth. It was the only country in the European Union that was growing last year. If you are growing, then you can think about profit automatically, right? This year, projections are that the economy will be growing above 3%. In other words, it means that banking sector has to make higher profits than last year. And we are just rising capital right now, and it's going to be, I'm pretty sure, successful. And secondly, we'd like to expand lending, cross-sell. We are focusing right now on more non-mortgage lending, but of course we are focusing on affluent clients. It's important to understand that we have the most popular internet banking platform in Poland, having 3.5 million customers. So even if you compare it to the UK, this is quite distant numbers. So affluent clients, new products and cross-sell, I hope it will produce a decent profit in 2010.
Why do you think the Polish economy managed to grow last year, even while the Western European economies were heading into recession?
First of all, we were less leveraged. It's important. Meaning, if you have less credit, automatically it does not lead to the significant drop of GDP. Secondly, Poland is utilizing enormous amount of European Union funds building infrastructure. So it was some sort of stimulus, natural stimulus from being financed by EU, which adds about 1 percentage point to the overall growth. Thirdly, Poles were not consuming as much as, for example, Americans were. So in the United States, or even in UK, you have to reduce significantly consumption. In Poland, you didn't have to, because your consumption was mostly based on your income, not on your credit. So if you put it all together, you turned out that we slowed down from 5 to 1.7, which is a significant slowdown, but it was a positive growth at the end of the day.
And the measure of your confidence at BRE Bank is that you're raising 2 billion zloty through a share issue. What are the details there?
We are finalizing it. I'm pretty sure that we'll make it because 70% will be taken by our main shareholder, which is Commerzbank. Then this capital will be, first of all, used just to rise our capital ratio, and secondly, for some sort of expansion, of course, rational expansion, because I think after Lehman, nobody is talking about irrational expansion any longer.
It's part of your job to look ahead, to forecast. What's your forecast for the Polish economy moving forward?
I think I'm quite positive. As long as we do not have a sudden crisis like Lehman, like Greece, I think we are talking about above 3% growth this year, above 4% growth next year. But of course, we are dependent on European growth, especially on Germany. So I keep my fingers crossed that Germany will survive the crisis. Eurozone will draw the right lessons from recent crisis, and the German economy, based on export mostly, will be able to grow this year and next year. And if it's the case, I'm pretty sure that we can even exceed this 4%, say, in 2012.
And the health of the Polish economy going forward is very much linked to the health of the German economy.
Yes, but we are mostly dependent on German exports. 30% of Polish export goes to Germany, but we are not so much dependent on German consumption, but more on German exports. In other words, if Germany sells more to UK and US, then we sell more to Germany. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I hope that Germany will become an export leader again. And then I would say that I'm very optimistic about Polish economy. I can even say that we're going to exceed this 4% I was talking about if Germany is doing well.